Now, I want to share a screen with you. I'm so excited about this. I realize that I haven't, forgive me, I haven't talked about these photos, have I?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I don't forget what I've said to who. But I love the idea of when you start this course, you're like a plane on a runway with the engines not going and covered in snow. You've been delivered by a taxi into the middle of somewhere you've no idea where you are. But by the time you finish the course, the runway is cleared, the engines are roaring, you're shiny, you're bright, the sun is shining, you can see where you're going, and the future is for yours to make. Okay? So you tell me whether you're a newbie in Shelley's case or just finishing very nearly Adam's case. I trust that that will be your experience. Now, your comments are resoundingly appreciative.
We remembered them though.
Okay. So we're talking the miner's done and dusted, and you're in. Anyone might like to make any comments about their experience on how that all went?
I got it under the word count first go, rather than having to remove a whole lot of words.
Good. What about the impact of the interview
Oh,
on you?
right. Sorry.
Anyone?
I found it quite nerve-wracking.
Right.
I found because I was still trying to understand a lot of concepts of teacher responsibilities that I learnt very quickly on the job in approaching this essay, because I found that the questions that I asked didn't get the answers that I wanted, and then I had to like my first question, who are you, where are you from, what's, where that kind of introductory question was met with a, well, how far back? And it was like, it wasn't an easy start. And then by the time I started asking questions that related to what they were interested in, then it moved quicker.
Right. That's very interesting. You see, Shelley-Ann, I don't think there's any mistakes. Yes, people do make mistakes. I make mistakes. And for whatever the reason, you've ended up doing this subject in your first semester. And normally it's the last semester or second to last, near the end of a degree. So in a sense, as I say, I think that someone is in control, and even though it might have been a huge learning curve, I think it will, once you've reflected on it and you'll settle, you'll find that, wow, yeah, that was rough. This semester's been a huge baptism, but I think it's going to set you up for a great future. I mean, I will say this for you, Shelley-Ann, the way that you can articulate concepts, ideas is really, really good. That's one of your major strengths as a teacher. So, you can tick that one off. That's nothing to be worried about. Whereas there are some different personalities, different upbringings. That's not easy. It doesn't come quite so naturally to them. But the fact that you can articulate your experience just like that on the drop of a hat, fantastic. So congrats.
Thanks. Well, it's interesting because I had someone say to me today, you're very self-aware, but I don't find that very helpful helpful to be very self-aware, because I read too much into things, you know.
Yeah, we had this discussion. And you can
So,
overthink, yes. But
yeah.
I would argue I would prefer that than somebody who's blind to their challenges. That would be, that's a huge challenge. So I think, yeah, maybe you are vulnerable, but I think vulnerability is a great thing for the teaching profession. I really do. If you can't be vulnerable, and we're coming on to the major assignment, if you can't be vulnerable, then I don't think you will be finding it so easy to empathize with the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, what comes to mind is one of the great pictures I've got in my mind is of a group of kids, maybe 5 or 6, standing around the teacher and praying for their teacher in front of the class. You know, the teacher was off to go, I forget what they were, I think maybe she was off to have an operation or something. And the kids spontaneously said, right, we're going to pray for you. And out they come and pray for her. So, I mean, she could have kept herself all closed up and not shared that. But she was able to, and it was brilliant for connecting with kids. Couldn't plan that, but it happened. Anyway, anyone else want to add anything about their experience in the minor?
Yeah, I found the interview to go quite well for me, and you know, I sort of left with the impression after being in that interview is that I haven't really valued working with other professionals, and I've sort of been blind to it because I've been so focused on getting the next essay done, working on the next assignment, working next, you know, with work, when's my roster, have I got things in by their due date, you know, that you forget that you're working with other people.
Oh man, that is a great revelation for the major. Great revelation. You know, whatever your personality, you're going to be plopped into some staff room. And I would argue for a newbie teacher, one of the challenges is coping with that staff room and the dynamics of the staff room. You've got to look out for those people who are going to be your allies, really work on those relationships, find the people who will be able to get alongside you and to help you, give you tips and tricks. It's gold. So you can't, it's funny, being a teacher is in some way a very isolating thing because you've got your kids and that's it. But on the other hand, you're in a team and that team is there not to fight you, but to support you. Love it. Anyone else on the minor? Okay, let's have a look at the major. Now in here, it's a bit of a long question, but if you take it in chunks, so let me prattle about it for a little bit, then you come in. Reflecting on your own emotional and spiritual journey as an educator. Really, speaking from experience of people writing this essay, the first part of their essay is, if you like, a mini bio. Basically, how did you get to be where you are now? Can you identify signposts on the way that triggered you to end up training to be a teacher? Now, you know, don't write your whole life history, otherwise it's going to be a very long piece. So be really selective on key events, experiences that happened on your way. You know, I'm thinking of a conversation I've had with Amit in the past, He is an entrepreneur. He's a really creative entrepreneur when it comes to business. Now, that is going to be, I think, a big part of what Emmy writes about in that first part. Where did that come from? Can he identify where that entrepreneurial spirit came from? Was it an uncle? Was it a dad? Or what was it? You know, something? Or was it a teacher? But whatever it was, something sparked in him, and that is a major strength of his. So spiritual journey, what is all this? When I say spiritual, I'm not saying you all have to go into a Christian mindset if that's not what you've got, but I believe all of us are spiritual. And try and work out what is going on in your history so far and write about it. Obviously, in that first part, first person singular is quite okay. Then you move on with reference to the materials presented in this subject and outside sources, examine your character construct. So in a nutshell, make sure at minimum you do the 16 personality profile thing. So plug into that, regard that as a little mini research project on yourself, analyze it. How true is it? Was it a figment of the computer? Or do you feel it hit the nail on the head? What were the key personality traits that come out of it? So you've got your history, you've got your character traits, and then you're looking at your interpersonal and communication skills. Okay, and going back to what Adam was saying about interacting with other professionals. Now that is going to be a big part of your role, and obviously how well do you communicate with your kids in the classroom. So to me, that's, if you like, 3 bits: the journey, the testing, and the looking at your communication skills. Then it says, in the light of the above, reflect on the learning institutions and communities known to you. So I would call that context. You know, think about,
Oh, is that what? Oh, okay.
where would you be doing this? Are you going to be doing it in an inner city Aboriginal community of Redfern, or are you going to be doing it in a rural community in the backside of Tasmania? That's going to be relevant to the stresses and strains on your life. Consider the likely challenges faced by you. It says by educators, but we're really saying you. And not just as a newbie when you go into class, but throughout your career. You know, try and get a long-term view, assess the pros and the cons, the dangers and the joys, discuss their impact on, so yeah, that's funny language, discuss their impact on other staff, students and parents. So if you can recognize challenges in your life, how will those challenges be seen by other staff members? I'll give you a stupid illustration, but I feel like an illustration's coming. Here goes. You might have a blind spot to helping other staff members with doing some photocopying. You might always get the page upside down and you feel embarrassed about it, so you actually don't volunteer to do photocopying for anybody else because you know it's not going to be a help at all. Then on the other hand, they'll look at you and think, oh, yeah, she's got time on her hands. Why isn't she running off to class? It would have been really nice, wouldn't it? They wouldn't say it, but they'd think it. Why couldn't she have done that for me? Maybe because she's stuffed up with photocopiers. Now that's a silly illustration, but it's a weakness that's going to have an impact on others. So I'm asking you in this essay to be aware of the impact of your weaknesses. I mean, and speaking for myself, I might have an anger problem. In which case, an anger problem.
Oh.
I I might, and I probably do. So what do I do with that? I've got to work out strategies so that I don't explode on the wrong people and in the wrong time, and go for a long walk, something like that. I've got to be real. I can't deny that I've got that, and I've got to work out a coping mechanism so that I don't blow people up on the way. It's not very helpful. Suggest effective managing and coping strategies to diminish the impact on the others in the school and any potential challenges you might see coming. Although this is a reflective socio-psychological paper in the educational context, ensure to include appropriate references to the literature. So arguably for 3,600 words, there won't be that many references because it's intensely personal. I would suspect, don't quote me, I'm just half a page to a page. The word count's I think different for the bachelor.
Yeah.
So I'm just reading off the master's one at the moment.
Yeah.
So, you can't go through a paper like this without doing some reading about personality types. Obviously, you can't. And I would suggest you have some reference to the type of schools that you're going to be imagining yourself working in. If it's a Christian school, then some Christian educators who've written about particular schools. That might be the way to go. But as I say, don't stress about that, and I don't need vast quantities of references because it is so intensely personal. So that's my spiel, I think. I'll say one more thing. So the first part, and I wouldn't say a big part, but maybe a page. First bit is where you've come from, background. The next bit is analysis of yourself. But the next bit, the last bit, which is the crescendo, if you like, what's my action plan? How can I build in a strategy that looks after myself? For example, I would put, if I was writing this essay, I would put in there, make sure I turn off the computer at 10 o'clock. Make sure I am on the pillow by 11. Much as teachers will tell you they will work into the wee hours, that's totally stupid, in my view, because you end up being tired and you end up having slow reactions. And that's the very worst thing to do when you're in front of 30 kids. If you're slow, they will make life absolutely painful for you. Trust me, I've been there. So get good sleep. That's a strategy for coping. For me, mentors are absolutely vital. They have been all throughout my life. So I have to build them in, different ones, different strengths, all the way through, depending on what job you've got and what you're doing. Exercise, diet, fresh air, proper relaxation. Don't feel guilty if you're not actually working, and all these sorts of things you put in. Sorry.
So did you call them mentors?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, people that I have a strong relationship with, they may not be educators, but they're in business or whatever, and I just somehow connected. They could be care group leaders, they could be just friends, they could be, I've got mentors in England.
Mentors.
Who
Sorry.
they're on the end of the email or on Zoom.
So I thought you said mentals, and I was like, mentals?
Oh, sorry.
What do you mean by mentals?
Sorry. So let's blame the
Mentors
internet.
make sense.
Let's blame the internet. Mentors.
Mentors.
So, sorry.
Yeah, go.
Well, lots of teachers will say that they don't even have time for the staff meeting that they have, and then you know, they can have a meeting 5 times, you know, on every single day of the week if they actually look at everything. And because they have meetings that go till 20 past 8, they're not in the classroom ready for their children, blah, 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 blah. And so I even asked, you know, or should the staff meeting be after school so that you can have 10 minutes reflection and prayer as a group, as opposed to, you know, and you know, like I feel like the teachers don't build in, that I work with, build in self-reflection.
Very good. I mean, look, that sort of comment to me says you're not going to be a straight teacher for very long, if you know what I mean.
Nope.
You'll be a head of school or principal or something.
No, no.
Yes, but mark my words. Because you've got to have, if you're a principal, you've got to have ideas of how to structure the workload so that you get your best out of your staff, and that's what you're just not talking about.
Mm. Well, that's the first I've heard of it.
Well, that's, to me, that's 101 principle.
Okay.
And I've been writing today, what decisions get made in a committee? Absolute rubbish decisions. If you think you're having, we're working in a meeting. Sure. People are flapping their lips. That's not that's not work. That's just getting stuff off your chest. Getting stuff done is making decisions. Informed decisions.
Yeah.
You can't always do it in a committee. You hardly ever can, in my view.
Yeah.
Just on this topic, so I've become a casual teacher at a Christian school. It's actually 40 minutes from where I live, and it's now turned into a bit more than casual work here and there, which has been really, really nice. But the school, it's the most incredibly structured school I've ever been in, and it is so cohesive across all primary years, and all the teachers are on the same page, and it's just the greatest place I've been in.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a testimony.
Yeah.
Treasure it.
Wow.
What
It's
sort
pretty
of
cool.
school is that? Like, is that a church controlled, you know, like
Parent control?
It's the Australian
ACC?
yeah, ACC, Australian Christian.
Oh yeah. Which school? Where are you going?
No, that's at Singleton, but they've got schools.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I know them all.
Yeah.
I used to be a principal for them in Caboolture in Brisbane.
Oh wow. Yeah, ACC, Australian Christian College. Yeah. So
Yeah, that is. I'm so thrilled to hear that.
yeah.
Because they just brought out 3 Tasmanian ACE schools.
Yeah,
So that's really interesting.
very interesting.
Which ones have they bought?
Wow.
Now I'm curious, but that's right. I don't need to know.
There's another one in Marsden Park. Do you know where that is?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the one at Marsden Park. There's another one. They've got quite a few schools. I have to check their website to see where the rest of them are. But yes, a lot of the principal there and a few of the other staff actually have come from the St. Philip's campuses. So they've had a big history there with St. Philip's, and they've come over to ACC, and they're doing pretty good things.
Excellent. Now, Amit, I notice we've got 4 minutes left. Any comments, questions from you? You're all happy? Okay. I think that means yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Heidi, how are you traveling?
I've got 2 questions. One is, you've talked about other personality types and things. Is there, I mean, I've done a fair bit, but is there more information somewhere on our website thing that I haven't picked up? It's a bit hard because I've been in my other unit's headspace for the last little while.
Sure.
So
Look, I wouldn't. if you've done the 16
Yeah, I've done
personality
that.
things,
Don't go
I
too
really
far.
wouldn't.
Don't
I
go too
wouldn't.
far else unless you're just saying this is the same as.
Look, at this stage in the game, when you've got your hands full, that's ample. Unless you feel it's an absolute dead loss of a thing, and
No, I quite
don't
like it.
it.
I can use it very well.
Oh, fine. Well,
And
then
I've been using it for a couple of years as
Yeah,
part
no,
of
no.
self-reflection.
No, that's fine then.
Now, yeah. The other question was those action plans things that you've mentioned,
Yeah.
they never even occurred to me because I assumed them. So I'm wondering whether the way I've been thinking is much, much too detailed.
That you've got to be careful of, yes.
And that's one of the, I mean, there we go. I can put that into my problem things that I tend to assume a whole lot of stuff and end up massively in the wrong piece of detail.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. That would be an excellent one to admit to and to work on. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've got strategies to deal with it. And
Good.
one of them is making sure I come to all the Zoom things
Which
so that
you
I
are
know
doing.
what's
You're
so that I know
one of
what's
the most zoomed out I've ever seen.
It's because I get information much more effectively person to person than any of the other strategies that are
Sure.
available.
Sure, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so much stuff in here. If you touch 20% of it, it'll be good.
Yeah. Cool.
And then are we building into this our own learning style, which will then be what we want to, our teaching style, and how that will challenge us because it will make us uncomfortable, blah, blah, blah. Or not really?
I think that might be a bit hard.
Yeah.
I would rather you focus on the goal of this essay is to give you a strategy for coping for the rest of your life. That's, to me, I don't want to see people burn out or get disillusioned after 5 years and trot off and do something else. I would love to think that you're now set up for a career which is going to blossom.
Yeah. Cool.
So it's basically a self-reflective setting up the journey from here on, I guess.
Yeah. It's cool.
And it'll be totally different for everybody. And, in some years with the group, I've had a really fruitful discussion about, and I think I put this on the forum, what's your biggest fear going in the classroom?
Yeah.
Very good question to ask. And then, okay, well, if it's this, then what do I need to build in to mitigate that?
I have no idea. That's why it's my biggest fear because I haven't been able to work it out.
Well, we're all on a journey, and I would be the first to admit that I haven't got a clue what I should be doing about my my challenges, and I've been at this a few more years than you.
Yeah.
But it's all the process, and as long as we're reflective and we're thinking, I think it's a great start.
Cool. That's sounding a lot more doable.
Good. I would love to think this is not a chore. This is an absolute let your hair down. You haven't got to sort of get your head around a whole bunch of theories here. You've really just got to get alone and just reflect.
Yeah,
and there's no right. And there's, even though this is a Turnitin assignment, that's rather bizarre, really, because how on earth could you copy anybody else? It's just pointless, really, but it happens to be a Turnitin assignment.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
See you, ladies and gentlemen. It's been fantastic to meet you all again.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
keep warm as best you can. Who was it? There's a chat going on. What's this? Is that to me or to you? Oh, mentors. Thank you, Kellyanne.
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You might know my accent perhaps a bit better than Adam.
maybe. My colonial heritage is from Singleton and Dungog, Adam. So I know the area.
Oh,
There you go. I'm
go.
at Musselbrook, so there you go. Not far.
Yeah. Love to go back.
Yeah, still pretty cold, but
Yeah, that's good. It'd be not an Aboriginal inland mission used to work outside of Singleton. It used to be a Bible college for the whole of Australia.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, there you go.
Anyway, it's good to see
okay.
you.
Jim, I would like to ask you some questions about other things. Am I best to email, or do you want to? Can we stay chatting?
Let me zoom you back because I want to stop the recording on this.
Okay.
I'll zoom you back now.
Okay.
All right. Ciao.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Jim. Bye.